Hello and welcome to Flutzes and Waxels, a figure skating podcast to satisfy all of your skating news, analysis, and recap needs. I'm Mary Margaret Mertzos.
And I'm Alicia Mertzos, and we're sisters with a lifelong love for figure skating, practicing, watching, and discussing. So let's delve deep into what's happened in the skating world this week.
So the Grand Prix season has finally arrived. We've just finished off competition number 1,
Yes.
Skate America. It feels very weird that we're back in the full swing of the season again.
It does. It feels early and also late, but Skate America is over.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
And we leave for Montreal in 3 days.
I know, that's the other thing. Competition number 2 is also starting very shortly. It's going to be an intense 6 weeks.
It is.
Especially since there's a whole lot of shakeup in all of the disciplines.
Yeah.
We'll get into it for these episodes. We're going to divvy them up by discipline and talk about everybody who competed. So
yeah.
Let's get right into it.
Let's go for it.
We'll start off with the ice dance. That's one of the shorter ones to get us started here. This was definitely a field of a whole lot of newcomers and a good bit of, shakeups and people rising to the top. It was a really exciting and engaging competition all the way top to bottom, I felt.
Yeah, there weren't really any bad free dances. Mm-hmm. There was only one I didn't really like in this entire field.
We didn't discuss this. I imagine it's going to be the same one. We'll wait and see.
Probably.
Anticipate. See if you can guess which one it's going to be.
If you were following along with me on Twitter, you already know which one it was.
Mm-hmm. But let's get into it from the top. Our winners here were Madison Hubble and Zachary Donahue. Pretty solidly, I think, as everybody expected here. With 2 pretty solid skates. I have to say their rhythm dance, I really enjoyed much more this second time around. They've played with it a little bit and it felt much stronger to me in this outing.
Yeah, the little tweaks that they've made have made all the difference in that rhythm dance. And I mean, they do the tango so well.
Yeah. It's obviously a shame that right at the end they had 2 deductions for a fall. I mean, they could have been nice to them, and he kind of fell after the program. Yeah. I could have seen it going either way. It didn't, impact the final placements or anything.
The only thing was that they never really had that moment in their final ending position before he fell, which is why they got the deduction.
Yeah. And then, of course, her skirt tassel fell off at the same time, and that...
Ditch the tassels.
The tassels and also that ending pose. It's a really awkward one. It's very funny to me that in this year's rhythm dance and the last 2 seasons short dances, they've had really awkward ending poses to their short dance / rhythm dance and had to change them as the season went by. It's an odd trend.
I appreciate the attempt at innovation. Mm-hmm. It's not working. Scrap it.
Yeah, I hope and somewhat expect that it'll be gone by next week when we see them again.
It might look very similar, but it will not be the same.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing, is they're in kind of an awkward position and it's hard for both of them. Like, neither one can really help the other if one of them is faltering a little bit, and that's why we had him fall over at the end of the program.
Her also trip because he was falling over and step on his hand.
Yes, which is also could have been a whole lot worse than it wound up being. I
mean, really strong rhythm dance, though, and the free dance is growing on me.
It is.
The thing for me was the audio mix from the CBC, and I commented on this on Twitter, was so awkward and kind of terrible that I couldn't hear the sexy Leo voice. Yeah, and it improved the program by leaps and bounds.
Yeah, the audio mix for the CBC, because they had commentary over it, the arena noise was a bit quieter than it normally is. And
the arena noise was almost normal volume, but the music was really quiet.
Yeah.
It seemed to be a combination of bad mic placement and bad audio mixing.
Yeah. Which did help a little bit for me in getting rid of... There's a whole lot of Leonardo DiCaprio talking over that free dance, and
Scrap it.
I have to say, it bothers me. It does. It takes me out. It annoys me. And I really hate when it happens because it is just so beautifully skated. I mean, in terms of how well they skated it, there's not much more that they could do. It was just, I was trying, like actively trying to ignore Leonardo DiCaprio, impeding my enjoyment of the program.
I don't understand the appeal. I understand it when you pick very specific things, like we talked about with Jun Hwan Cha with the prologue. Mm-hmm. Prologue works because A, it's dramatically engaging.
Yeah.
And B, it sets the scene and is a feature of the music.
Yeah.
As opposed to being on top of the music.
Which is very much what Leonardo DiCaprio is doing in all of his voiceovers.
It doesn't help that the reality of arena speakers means that this kind of talking sounds terrible.
It really does. It just... It does not work. I don't know why so many people do it.
It doesn't contribute to the program.
Like, again, for me personally, it really, really takes me out, and I have to actively look past it.
At best, it does not contribute positively to the program.
Yeah.
At absolute best.
Well, and that's the thing. The music now is so well used, and, you know, the little chyron on the screen says you're skating to Romeo and Juliet. We don't need dialogue to convey that to us.
Nope.
It's unnecessary. It takes away a little bit.
Also, your skating tells the story well enough that also it's Romeo and Juliet. We all know what you're skating to.
Yeah. I do really hope we're going to be seeing it live next week because they're competing next week at Skate Canada. I really hope that this is going to be one of those programs that you need to see live to get the full experience. I mean, it in a lot of ways made me think of Virtue and Moyer's free dance last year, where it took me a long time to really get on board. It was like, I can see...
I understand why.
Yeah.
But also, ugh.
Yeah.
Which, that's exactly how I feel about this.
Yeah, which is just such a shame because, again, watching them, I'm drawn in by their skating. I almost kind of want to turn down the music.
I want to take the exact cut of music, cut it myself without the sexy Leo voice, and play it over the program.
Yeah.
Because without the sexy Leo voice, this program would be amazing.
And I mean, it already is a fantastic skate, and I'm sure it'll do well with them, which is why I don't expect it will be changed.
No.
But
it's great. It could be amazing.
Exactly. Let's move on to second place here. Charlene Guignard and Marco Fabri from Italy, also with two really strong skates here. And not scoring quite as high as they did at Lombardia, but pretty close. I really expect...
Nothing to complain about with the 192.
Yeah. I really expect that we will probably see these two in the final. Yeah. And definitely well-deserved. Both programs just suit them so well, and they look confident this season.
They have grown in leaps and bounds over the last 3 seasons, and I am really impressed by them.
Yeah.
The pick for La La Land for the free dance especially really works for me.
It hits all of their strong suits.
Yep.
You know, it allows them to have the more soft lyrical section and then, you know, a more happy-go-lucky upbeat section. And still be one cohesive program at the same time.
And it plays well with their dynamic.
Yeah.
They do okay with the sweep, but they do best when they can sort of goof off of each other.
Yeah. And theirs isn't the, most romantic relationship, which is why the music choices that they picked in this as well really work well for their relationship. Yeah. They're not going full dramatic romance like Hubble and Donahue are.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing because I don't think it would work for them nearly as well as it does for Hubble and Donahue.
We don't buy romance quite as well from them as from other teams. And it's not about being in a romantic relationship with your partner. As we've experienced, it's often easier when you're not in that romantic relationship because you can just fake it. It's easier to fake it than to try to put out something real and be open to that.
Yeah. But, you know, you don't have to go that route. No. And these two are a great exemplar of how to do it without being totally, you know, unromantic.
Yeah. It's subtly romantic.
Yeah.
It's there, but it's not the first thing you think of.
And good to see as well that they got most of their levels in the free dance especially. They were looking pretty strong. You know, we've seen especially the step sequences in the past have been a bit of an issue. But, I mean, nobody here got full level 4s across the board. Nobody yet competing this season has. So where they are right now, I think, is a great place. And I'm excited to see them at their next event and hopefully at the final.
Yeah, I mean, if they skate like this at their next event, they've signed their ticket for the final.
Yep, exactly. Third place were Tiffany Zagorski and Jonathan Guerrero, who had their season debut here. I do have to say, it definitely was clear to me that it was a season debut. I think both of these programs, but especially the free dance, have oodles of potential.
Yep.
But it was not quite realized here. And I want to see this, you know, a month, 2 months down the road when they've had time to finesse
By
it.
Russian nationals, it's probably going to be a pair of amazing programs.
Yeah, I have to say, we'll talk about the other Christopher Dean program in a bit, but Christopher Dean has some fantastic notions for what to do in ice dance and always has, but they're not easy to do. And we saw from both of the programs here some struggles with, you know, portraying his vision because it's really hard.
It is. And it was a little easier for Menta and Johnson, the other Christopher Dean skaters, to do it because they could sell it in the face.
Yep.
And
the voguing.
Yeah, and the voguing and flub the feet. Whereas Zagorski and Guerrero had a more dramatic Christopher Dean program, which means you can't fake it with the upper body.
Yeah.
The feet have to be right, and they weren't really here.
Yeah, they started out pretty strong, but definitely by the second half, especially with that stationary lift, I was going, oh no, please don't drop her.
You can tell which sections they have run 8 billion times and which sections they have only run 6 billion times.
Yeah, well, and it could even be just, you know, the stamina of getting through a full run through. That one, to me, I was a little bit miffed in the judging that there was only a single judge who gave it a negative GOE, and that was a -1. That was a really rough lift, guys. Everybody saw him struggling in that lift. Yeah.
It was one thing, the judges who gave it 0s.
Yeah.
The +3s, though.
That's excessive, guys.
That's really excessive.
Like, yes, it's a really cool lift, and when they can do it well, it will definitely deserve positive GOE, but they did not do it well here. Potential is not the same as what you put out on the ice.
If you have a single moment of, oh my god, is he about to drop her on her head, that's an automatic negative GOE for me.
Yeah.
Because that means that the lift was not secure.
Well, and I mean, that's the thing. It was rough going in. It was rough going out. It had an extended time. He really struggled to get the foot up. Like, there were loads of issues going on in there.
That and again, alone means the in and out mean mandatory minus GOE.
Yeah.
You add in the difficulty balancing and getting the foot up.
Yeah.
That's -2, -3.
Yeah.
If we want to be really mean, a -4.
Yeah. And I mean, that was, you know, the most rough of the elements. There were a few, you know,
little
especially
stumbles.
Yeah, little stumbles, things in and out of the elements that needs work. And I do, you know, expect that by the end of the season, it'll be a lot smoother. They haven't had as much time as some of the other teams to work on that. And again, that's some really complicated stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
So I am excited to see it, you know, done cleanly. They ended up losing the free dance to McNamara and Carpenter, which I think was definitely deserved. I kind of might have had them lose
a little further back.
Yeah, just we'll get into McNamara and Carpenter in a bit, but for me, Zagorski and Guerrero were not as polished as they were, and some of the elements, especially like that stationary lift, were
judged overly kindly.
I was about to say they were kind to that lift.
Yeah, as opposed to McNamara and Carpenter, who got the sharp end of the stick on some of those elements that...
Well, because that's the thing. If we may as well move on to McNamara and Carpenter, who finished 4th here, just barely, less than a point off the podium. They got almost all of their levels, especially in the rhythm dance.
Yeah.
I believe I think are the second team so far this season to get all their key points in the Tango Romantica.
At most, they are third.
Yeah, I think Stepanova and Buchan have done it, and I don't think anyone else.
I don't think so.
So that
we might
in of
have
itself,
missed one, but I doubt it.
Yeah, that of itself is a big feat, and even in the free dance, they got most of their levels, and both programs were skated extremely well. So for me, the fact that there were no major technical issues for McNamara and Carpenter, and they have just beautiful programs, but especially that free dance.
I love their free dance.
Yeah.
And theirs, I think, is my favorite one-foot step sequence to this point.
Yeah. I will, if we move back briefly to Zagorski and Guerrero, give them props for the idea of it.
Yes.
It wasn't executed as well as it can be, but I think it will be great later.
Yes. In terms of current execution of a one-foot step sequence, this was probably one of my favorites from McNamara and Carpenter. Mm-hmm. They had amazing flow through it. The turns looked effortless. She flubbed some, which isn't great, but I mean, it looked fantastic to the naked eye.
Well, and that's the thing. Both programs were really well skated here. And it really just comes down to the little nitty-gritty details that had them off the podium here, because they were really, really close. I'm very curious for them as well. I don't remember what their second event is, but to see if they can push onto the podium at their next event.
I mean, if they can get even just a pair of level 3s on that one-foot step sequence.
Yeah, that was all they would have needed here.
All they needed was one judge to be a little more generous across the board.
Yeah.
And they would have been on the podium.
Yeah, because I mean, that's the thing. Technically well done, well presented, confidently presented in both programs.
And I mean, her lines are perfect.
Mm-hmm. That is the most impressive thing to me, is she especially has really grown as a skater in terms of both of them used to be a little bit sloppier, but sort of going for speed and power and dynamism. And this really shows off a different side to them, which is great to see.
Soft and pretty and perfect lines.
Yep.
I like it.
Yep. Fifth place were Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson, who came just so close to two fantastic clean skates here. It was a real shame when he flubbed the twizzles in the free dance.
I know.
Right at the end.
I almost cried because it was midnight and I hadn't slept. And also, they were so close.
Yeah.
And they had two... We're going to ignore the twizzle flub because otherwise they had two stellar skates.
I have to say, we've now seen their free dance 3 times in competition.
Yep.
And it is moving up the list of like my favorite dance program so far this year. It is just so well choreographed, and they're obviously having the time of their lives. And just things like starting out with that character step. Like that is what the character step was developed for, to allow for that opening.
Yes. Also, their choreographic sliding movement is one of my favorites, with the like jazz split from them both at the same time. It's so great.
Well, and the music arrangement is great and gets the crowd on their side. And I mean, it wouldn't work if they weren't super into it, and they are so into it.
She especially is like selling it 150% start to finish, even through the step sequences. It's really impressive.
Yeah. I do have to say as well, in previous competitions, they were a bit behind after the rhythm dance. They really showed a big improvement in the rhythm dance here, though, in terms of the levels on the elements, especially the Tango Romantica, and even just in their confidence with it. They just looked more confident in that program, and that helped them out a lot too.
Yeah, I mean, being in the second flight at their first Grand Prix event is huge.
And beating out their teammates as well. They've been off to a great start this season for sure.
I really hope this continues.
Yeah.
I need this to continue. I need to see this program about 15 more times.
They do have a second event. Again, I don't remember which one right now, but we'll see them at least one more time. And again, I kind of suspect based on this result that we might see them Europeans and Worlds as well.
Yep. I hope so, because I'm loving that free dance.
Yep. Sixth place were Natalia Kaliszczuk and Maxim Spodyriev from Poland. Definitely a better set of skates than they had at their first outing, which was kind of a disaster.
Yes.
Still not perfect here, but definitely a big improvement. And actually, I really like both of their programs.
Yeah.
They need a lot of polish, but these two as well have a whole ton of potential.
If we're judging on potential of programs, these are right up there.
Yeah.
But they're not really at the point yet where they're able to confidently execute most of the elements.
They're not. I do have to say I was glad that they got rid of the knee slide mid-twizzle in the rhythm dance. Yep. Obviously, they weren't confident in it in their first outing because she had a fall on it and it turned into a disaster. So they fixed it. That
Good job.
Is an excellent choice. She definitely... In the past, and this season as well, she especially, I notice, does not look as polished as he does at the start of the season. And she really builds up toward the end. And especially because we have the 1 foot step sequence, I really noticed it with her.
Yeah.
That, especially for her in particular, is the weak point of the program. Like a big glaring one where I was looking at her going, oh no, are you going to fall over on this?
This was another place where I was like, what is going on with this judging? Because they got a really good GOE on that 1 foot step sequence.
Yeah.
And I was worrying about her falling over the whole time, which he did fine.
Yeah, he is a very sturdy, stable partner. And like I said, a lot of the time she seems to take a while to get comfortable with choreography. And to be fair, this program as well has all kinds of interesting and innovative stuff. Yeah,
and different, and it's completely different than what they've done in the past. But we can't give them a 1.4 GOE on a 1 foot step sequence where she almost fell over like 3 times.
Yeah, I was concerned about whether she'd be able to stay upright.
Yeah, she just seemed to be rocking back and forth on her blade the whole time, which for anybody who has never done a 1 foot step sequence before, don't worry, be grateful.
Yeah.
But the thing about turns is most of them are done at the front to like middle of your blade.
Yeah, sort of like on the ball of your foot, that
area. To like the mid arch. Backwards to forwards turns you mostly do on like your mid arch.
Yeah.
But the forward turns are done on the ball of your foot. And she did so many of them on the heel of her blade. Yeah,
I definitely, for me, the main thing that needs work in both programs. And, you know, but it's definitely a better outing than they had their first time out. So, you know.
We're making improvements. It's fine.
Yeah.
We just need to talk about, in particular, the judging of the 1 foot step sequence.
Yeah. Let's say 7th place here were Katharina Müller and Tim Dieck from Germany. These two are definitely like reaching for the sky in terms of interesting programs. They have really interesting concepts in both programs. To me, they are not yet executed well enough to convey those concepts, especially in the free dance.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that was also your... Yeah.
I have major problems with that free dance.
The main thing for me, if you did not watch, I believe it was something about the way through cancer, I think is the name of the music.
It's all about surviving cancer. And she smiles start to finish.
I know. I mean, well, to be fair, at the very beginning, they have very dramatic, like, opening movements. But then almost the rest of the program, she has this big grin on her face.
She has 2 moments where she does this weird, like, screaming face.
Yeah, of anguish, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. 2 moments. Every other second, she is smiling. And
I mean, based on, you know, the kiss and cry, it looks like she's just, you know, generally a happy person. But then maybe this isn't the best choice of program.
If you have resting smiling face, do not do a cancer or Holocaust program. Those are the 2 that are off the list if you have resting smiling face.
Or like the Medvedeva 9/11 program.
Yes. National tragedies.
And personal tragedies.
Off the list if you have resting smiling face and can't control it.
Yeah, because I mean, in terms of the actual skating and the actual choreography, there's lots to admire there. It was more just the facial interpretation that really just took me out, and it made me a little bit confused in that I wasn't sure what they were even really trying to convey in the free dance.
Yeah, it was,
especially with the voiceovers as well. Again, because of the audio mix in the video, I couldn't really hear them very well, so I wasn't even sure.
I heard, because I had our TV turned all the way up watching this, yelling things like pain, defeat, anger,
and then one of them was love, I think, and that's why I was going, I don't know, I don't understand happening.
Not in a good way. They're trying really hard to do something cool.
That's the thing, I admire the effort a lot, I really do. I just think that especially this was not as good a choice to show them off.
No.
Because if we go to the rhythm dance, that as well is really daring and risky in terms of doing sort of a more techno modern tango, and that one as well didn't fully work for me, but that was more in their wheelhouse that I could see improving a lot over the season.
It feels like it's the beginning of the season and this program isn't there yet, but by Worlds, if they make it to Worlds, it'll be good.
Yeah.
The free dance I am not so sure about.
Yeah, we will see. We'll see it again, I imagine, at some point. I'm pretty sure they do now have a second event, I think maybe in Finland. Again, I don't have the list in front of me.
But, don't ask me.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see it again and see if my opinion of it changes. But yeah, I was just confused throughout, and more thinking about the concept than thinking about their skating, which is not what you want.
I spent most of the program watching her face, waiting for something to change instead of watching her feet.
Well, and the thing is, too, in terms of the feet, they got most of their levels, and they're obviously pretty strong skaters, which is why you don't want to take away from that, which is very strong.
I would like to have enjoyed your skating as opposed to going, but what is going on? PJ told me this was about cancer. What?
Yeah. Let's move on. 8th place were Alexandra Nazarova and Maxim Nikitin from the Ukraine. These two as well with a much better outing than their initial outing, which was also a disaster. Still, though, they don't quite look fully ready. They're still needing polish on the ins and outs of a lot of the elements.
And not in their normal way.
Yeah.
Like, they have lots of, I'm so enthusiastic that I'm not going to straighten my knee.
Yeah.
Which is one thing, and I can appreciate the excitement of that, but right now they look timid, which does not work for these two.
Yeah, and I mean, I can understand the timidity, especially after last time was such a disaster that you don't want to have a fall in your Tango Romantica, which is what happened last time.
Oh boy.
I think as well, the rhythm dance is one of the Chicago rhythm dances, which we've talked about before. If you haven't listened, I'm not the biggest fan of mixing tango rhythms with other rhythms.
Yeah, that's the short story. Long version is, why? Why did you mix the tango with, I guess it's a quick step?
Yeah, a quick step. Or actually a foxtrot,
maybe? It's one of the two.
Way,
it sort of straddles that line because the main difference between a quick step and a foxtrot is the tempo.
Yeah.
It straddles that line. It's a quick step or a foxtrot.
It's in there somewhere, but either way, it doesn't.
If you need two tempos, two Spanish tempos.
Yeah.
Nothing else is acceptable.
Yeah, but I mean, they're far from the only ones to do it, and the rhythm dance.
There are 800 cell block tango numbers.
Yeah, the rhythm dance here was definitely better than before, and I think will be a solid enough program. It's our own personal dislike of that style of rhythm dance, but it's allowed under the rules, so they can do it. It's allowed,
and as far as like that particular style, it's not the worst one.
No.
It's not the best one, but it's not the worst one.
And then the free dance is also, obviously very quirky, and I think plays to their strengths in that way. But I think the first part especially, I'm sort of losing the story of what's happening. Once we get into the second half with the Chaplin 101 music, it comes together a bit better. But that might even just be due to, we need some more practice and run-throughs and cleanliness on everything.
Well, and the biggest thing for me, especially in the first half of that free dance, is it doesn't feel light enough. Mm-hmm. When I watch a Chaplin program, I want things to be light and fun and goofy, which they're really good at, but not yet with this program.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see as the season goes by. Hopefully it improves, but definitely better than the first time anyway.
Yes. Also, a quick side note. Apparently her black boots are super controversial.
I mean, I can't think of anyone else who did it, so, but good on you for breaking barriers.
Also, anybody who thinks that it breaks up the line more, that's just because you're used to white boots.
Yeah.
Also, white boots would have broken up the line more in the rhythm dance because she has black fishnets on.
Like, when we have, ladies in pantsuits with white, like a black pantsuit with white boots at the end, that also cuts off your line, but nobody
says anything because it's white boots or tan boots, whichever.
We're just used to it. We can get used to new things.
Yeah.
Change is good.
Again, if you want to wear hot pink boots, I'll judge you a little bit, but you do you. Yeah. I'll just judge you a little bit for it.
Yeah. 9th place were Robin Tweedale and Joseph Buckland from Great Britain. These two had pretty good outings for both of their programs. I think for them, the free dance is definitely their strong suit. She especially is really expressive and obviously loves this music. Yeah. Their lifts as well are really cool looking and smooth, which is always nice to see when they're nice and easy looking.
Yeah, they have a lot of really nice elements. Mm-hmm. The biggest thing that I think they need to work on is their comfort and hold. Yeah. Because they don't look super comfortable there yet. And the transitions. Yeah,
I would say that especially in the rhythm dance, their Tango Romantica, I believe the levels were fairly low for those. They didn't look very confident in the Tango Romantica, especially.
Yeah, it was a level 1 and a level 2 on the Tango Romantica for them. They're just not as comfortable as most of these teams skating so close together, which is super hard, especially...
Yeah, it takes time.
The Tango Romantica is stupidly hard. Yeah. And figuring out the timing alone is... My brain can't handle it with some of this music. Yeah. Where the timing doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there are lots of programs I've seen so far where it's really? That's maybe not the best choice of music because you're just making your life harder trying to find the beat for all your steps.
Or when it's on the and instead of on the beat. Yeah. Why did you do that to yourself?
Don't make your life harder is the lesson here. Yeah. And then 10th place here were Karina Manta and Joseph Johnson, who also were much improved over their first outing because they also had kind of a disaster with the fall in the Tango Romantica. Much stronger here. I was glad to see... we saw them at the U.S. International Classic about a month ago, and this is another Christopher Dean free dance, and we mentioned that there's tons of potential, but need lots of polishing. Here, it still needs a bit more polishing, but there was definitely a big improvement.
Also, talk about what the character step was designed for.
Exactly.
That might be my favorite character step.
It's definitely up there. I mean, and it allows them to sell it in the face and with the voguing.
Yeah. It's by no means the most difficult character step, but guess what? It's a 1-level element. Nobody cares.
And I mean, that's the thing. Sometimes easier might just be better if it allows you to, them and Fear and Gibson, basically they use that character step as a way to set the mood. With Manta and Johnson, it's, this is a total dance party, voguing party, and Fear and Gibson is no, we're going full out disco, and it doesn't really matter what our feet are doing. This isn't about the feet. This is about conveying the character of the dance.
I especially love Manta and Johnson's 2-foot rocker brackets. Those are my favorite.
It's a really great section, and they also have some, really cool lifts and really cool transitional movements. The transitions especially just need more polishing, and it's going to take time, because similar to Zagorski and Guerrero, this is a tough program.
This is stupidly hard. I love you, Christopher Dean, but these programs are stupidly hard. Like, the transitions are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. They're so complicated and like layered, and the head, the shoulders, the feet have different timing for all of the transitions. And once they're done right, they are going to be amazing.
And I do expect that we will see them get there. Just it's going to take some time, because it is really tough, especially if you're trying to think about, getting your twizzle levels and, getting your tango romantica levels, which they also struggled with a bit here.
Yeah.
In terms of actual level of elements, I would say that to me is the biggest thing that I would have them go home and work on. They lost levels on some other things, but that one, I believe they got
a B and a 1.
Yeah, a base and a level 1, which is...
Or no, a base and a 2.
Oh, okay. But still, though, that keeps you way behind everybody else.
Get a 1 and a B. Or, a 1 and a 2. That B is deadly.
It is, because basically a B means you hit none of the key points at all. And it's not a good way to start you off. It gets you behind everybody. And even with just those levels upped a little bit, they wouldn't have been quite so far behind 9th place.
And I mean, it's all there. Just put it together. You can do it, guys.
And, there's a lot to be said if you're... a lower level team trying to move up to get some memorable programs, and they have done it here. So,
oh yes,
well done on that.
Smart choice working with Christopher Dean.
Yep. All right, so that was the ice dance event here. What was your highlight from the dance?
Oh God, this is so hard. Because we're gonna give the honorable mention. I think we can agree to Manta and Johnson for that free dance.
Yeah.
It did not place that well, but it's one of my favorite programs of the season. I don't care how badly they skate it. It's so good. But, I think I have to give my actual favorite to Hubble and Donahue's rhythm dance. Despite the screw up at the end, it was so good.
We just cut out a little early. Yeah, it's definitely much improved, and they're obviously skating at the top of their level.
Yeah.
I was kind of annoyed you picked that one, because I was debating between two others. Guinar and Fabry's free dance especially is fantastic. I might just have to go with Fear and Gibson, though.
Yeah.
For that free dance. Even in spite of the Twizzle Bobble, it is very quickly becoming one of my favorites.
Fun party numbers for the free dance.
Mm-hmm. Again, especially if you're an up-and-coming team, I remember you.
Yep.
I definitely remember you.
You become fast favorites if you do fun, upbeat numbers, especially in a tango season, because everybody does a waltz for their free dance when they don't have to do a waltz for the rhythm dance. So be fun and be memorable.
Yep. And then in terms of the weekly waxel, that has to go to that end of the rhythm dance fall dilemma from Hubble and Donahue.
And especially the stepping on the finger.
Yeah. Because that could have been really disastrous.
That could have been absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
That could have been withdrawal-worthy.
Yeah. Which luckily it wasn't.
It was not.
But again,
don't do it again.
I rather expect that they're going to have a different ending pose next week.
Yep.
Okay, so that wraps up the ice dance. We will be back in a little bit for the other disciplines at Skate America. And then next week we will be at Skate Canada. So come find us if you're there.
Come say hi. If you are also going to be at Skate Canada, earlier today I retweeted a very useful guide that a very useful friend on Twitter made about how to get to the arena via transit. What transit passes to buy and which ones not to buy. Mm-hmm. Because once you go into Laval, transit tickets become complicated. And where food is and all that kind of stuff. So if you're going to be there, go find that. Yeah, it's super helpful.
All right, so we will be back soon with Skate America, but let's wrap this up for now. Thank you all for listening, and please let us know your thoughts about this week in figure skating at flutzescast@gmail.com. You can also follow us at Flutzescast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for even more skating content.
Check out our website, flutzescast.wordpress.com, for episode guides and other fun stuff. And if you like what we do, consider leaving us a review wherever you're listening. We'll be back very shortly with the rest of Skate America, but until then, keep a watchful eye out for those Flutzes and Waxels skating fans.